It's time for another Unknown Pleasures screening, which is happening on the 20th of June. And this time, the screenings will be all about the films of Erin McCuskey. And it's my great pleasure to be speaking to the curator, co-curator with Chris Luscri of Unknown Pleasures, Bill Mousoulis. Bill, welcome again to Movie Metropolis.
Thank you very much, Peter. You're a wonder. You're a wonder. Thanks.
Yeah, and you've become a semi-regular on the show. It's which is great.
Yeah. No, and that does reflect on you and your support of independent filmmaking. So, yeah, Chris and I are pretty happy about that. So good on you, and thanks. Yeah.
Always happy to do that. Now, the films, and I've had a look at them all, of Erin McCuskey. Such an interesting collection of films that she's made. She's Ballarat-based, and screening on June 20th. Tell me about why you decided to show these films.
Well, Erin is someone that's been on my radar for a little while now. I first heard of her work actually with when I was still part of the Melbourne Super 8 group in the 90s, in the mid to late 1990s. I knew that there was a little bit of a Super 8 scene happening in Ballarat. And I remember that one night at our screenings in Melbourne of the Super 8 group, we invited the Ballarat filmmakers over, and Erin was part of that kind of venture. And then the years passed after that, and I still heard about her a little bit. But in more recent times, I profiled her on my website, which is called Melbourne Independent Filmmakers. That was from a couple of years ago, and so I got to know her work a bit better then. And just more recently, it's just and it's always about featuring women filmmakers as well. And as much as we try to be 50-50 equal with that, there's still not 50%. 50% of the filmmakers are still not women. So to feature someone like Erin is a no-brainer. And more recently, when I started speaking to her, I got to know her work a bit better because I could see some of the work that was password protected, which I actually hadn't seen. And so I got a very nice surprise and delight that my hunch was right to feature her work, because it is quite colourful. Firstly, very vibrant and quite enjoyable. There's music, there's dancing, there's girls dancing. What more can we ask for? And then there's this kind of richer kind of vein, this more poetic, deeper, humanistic kind of vein in there as well. So we're really pleased to be presenting her work, especially as she's a regional artist as well. And I don't think she gets too many screenings in Melbourne, but she's certainly quite well known in Ballarat kind of artistic circles.
Okay, they are such interesting films. The sort of experimental, split screen approach, the influences I can see using sort of Méliès and Busby Berkeley and all of that sort of thing as well, and as well as this whole idea of life and so on, especially focusing on women. They are such an interesting, eclectic collection of films, and I can see why you chose them, because they are, quite compelling in many respects.
Yeah, definitely. It's, sometimes, we talk about feminism and the representation of women on screen. I think Erin's kind of take on this is quite interesting, because she really celebrates women. So it's feminist in the sense that she's celebrating them. And to see women, like especially older women in their 50s and even older, because there's the one film called Do Not Go Gentle, which is like the major half-hour work in the program that has, older female characters. And who are dying. It's kind of about death. It's about aging, and it's about dying and death. And but yeah, just that uninhibited, joyful celebration of women, the joy of them, and their connection. There's a lot of like stuff in her work to do around, memory and tying that to archival footage of especially mothers connecting to their daughters, and so that's in there quite a lot, but it's not this kind of heavy-handed feminist type representation or analysis of kind of women's lives. So it's quite refreshing in a way.
It certainly is, and her approach is so interesting as well. With as I mentioned, the use of split screen, the use of very kinetic sort of footage, and the use of music from Christine Tammer and others, which makes it again quite different from the standard films that we see.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, with the split screen and the superimpositions, and she's really interesting with how she handles motion, because one actually thinks that if you're showing dancing, for example, on screen, that you would go with the flow. And this is the zoom, so I can illustrate visually. You go with the flow. For radio listeners, sorry, you couldn't see that. And so, but what she does with some of the dancing is that she like cuts it up. And so there's this interesting stop motion effect going on. And what was the other thing I wanted to say there about the dancing? I've forgotten now. Sorry about that. But yeah, she really is like a visual experimentalist with her work. So her work, has these different aspects going to it all at once. And yes, the music from Christine Tammer. Christine Tammer is the filmmaker Peter Tammer's sister, and yeah, she's a musician, composer. She's a playwright as well. Like the one film that we're showing called Random Number Generator, which is a bit out of step with the other films in the program. It's like a 10-minute piece about gambling venues, like these pokey places and casinos. And so we've got all these amazing colors on the screen and sounds like luring you in to gamble your money away. And there's these like cabaret like songs in there. It's almost like a musical, kind of fun musical type thing. And and Christine Tammer has actually written like a musical, a cabaret type kind of piece that I think has not been staged anywhere, and hopefully that'll see the light of day at some point. So yeah, Erin really has a great collaboration going on with people around her, like her husband Michael, and her daughter Fagan, who I'm thinking that's how you pronounce the name Fagan, Fagyn, kind of Irish name. And she's actually that's her daughter. She's actually going to be running the Q&A at the event, because they work together quite closely. So again, that connection between mother and daughter that we see in the films is going to play out at the screening itself, with this sharing, this connection between them regarding the work. So yeah, so Erin's got a really great kind of team around her, helping her with her films, and it's very joyful. It's very joyful work.
It is, and just to continue that, the use of sound effects and visual overlay, etc., which I really like. For example, in Twirl Deluxe, which is quite a well-made split screen film about a dancing woman and so on. Yes, it's just thematically very strong, especially the themes that go across her films.
Yeah, definitely. Because, like I said, we've got the dancing, but we've got those deeper themes in there too. And apart from the film "Do Not Go Gentle," which has the process of kind of dying on show, there's the film Precious. I've forgotten what it's called now. Precious Fragments, I think.
Yes, yes.
About another kind of longer film, 25-minute film. And in this one, Erin really kind of delves into her Irish heritage, but also, where she's living now, like the indigenous kind of land and
Mm.
people. And so, there's these kind of very deep and elements of, place and again, just the connections people have with each other and passing down of traditions and that love, that mystery that life is, that of course Indigenous culture knows all about, with the dreaming and their connection to the land. And so yeah, there's so many valuable and insightful and um, very relevant kind of things in Erin's work, I think. Yeah.
Yes, I also liked Carnival as Life, the
Mm.
celebration of those carnivals and etc. And it says a Jack Anderson reverie, which I didn't quite understand, but anyway.
The Jack Anderson is a figure in Ballarat from the past, from in the 50s, 60s. So a lot of the footage in the film of Carnival is Life. It's like, footage from the 50s, 60s, 70s.
Mm.
And it's from Jack and his archive. He actually owned like a cinema in Ballarat, and he was a big part of the community. And he shot a lot of 16 mil, footage, and I think maybe Super 8 or whatever footage of his family and also other members of the community there in Ballarat. So I guess she's saying Jack Anderson reverie because it's kind of like his dream was like around cinema and capturing, people's lives on film. And so it's like a homage that she's made to him. And yeah, and that works, that runs in her films quite a lot. Like there's footage from the past, and I'm not sure if it's actually her own. Like in the very first Super 8 film, there's shots of a mother and a young baby, and I'm not sure if that's actually Erin's mother. I haven't asked her that, but there's
Oh,
some, Irish kind of footage like that as well. Yeah.
okay.
Mm.
Is Erin still actively making films?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. She actually takes on like other assignments, like, kind of sort of like corporate films, but not really for, those kind of more commercial corporate things. It's more assignments like, documenting a people's life, person's life, and other kind of community things. So she's got her studio, Yum Studio, which she kind of has this alter ego, Madam Yum. And so she definitely is very active, and she's really kind of at the peak of her artistic kind of powers, I think, at the moment. And so I think there'll be quite a few more films ahead. Whether she's got a feature film kind of brewing in her head, I'm not sure. I'm just being very honest here. I haven't
Yeah,
spoken to her about some of these things.
sure.
So who knows? But yeah, good on her. More power to her. Mm.
Absolutely. No, they're really distinctive films, and I was glad I was able to have a look at them. So you've put these packages together, and you'll be screening all of her films on the 20th of June as part of the Unknown
Yes,
Pleasures. So tell me a little bit
yes.
more about that.
That's on the 20th of June at a venue that is called the Thornbury Picture House, which we all know, and information about that, is online. People can search for Unknown Pleasures film screenings, and it'll come up. The screening will start at 8:25 p.m., so it's that kind of time slot. And the short films will go for about 90 minutes, and then there'll be the Q&A at the end. And yeah, there's not much more I can say about it. There's a Facebook event page. Look for it on Facebook if you like, and yeah, it should be a great night.
Yeah, no, I'm sure the audience will be really responsive to her films. I think they're really interesting. And Bill, what's coming up next in Unknown Pleasures?
Oh, we've got one more screening definitely lined up. That's for July 18. That's like a Margot Nash film.
Ah,
You know, Margot Nash, we love, the Sydney feminist legendary filmmaker. And her film called Call Me Mum, which I don't know if you might know that film. I think it was actually more made for TV initially, Call Me Mum, from around 2005. Chris Luskery's put this program together. So yeah, I've seen the film in the past. It's a really nice little film, and um, yeah, Margot's more known for Vacant Possession,
yeah.
uh, and I guess more recently there's her documentary called The Silences about her mother. But she has made a number of other films that are really worthy, of course, and not as high profiled as those two I just mentioned. But yeah, so she's coming up in July, and then we'll take a break from MIF, and everything stops for MIF. Of course, it's a carnival, it's a big festival, and then yeah, we'll be back after that, and yeah, with who knows what. Let's see, unknown pleasures. They're unknown.
They're unknown. Well, all power to you, Bill. You and Chris
Yeah.
do a great job in curating these films that should be seen, and Unknown Pleasures, and the films of Erin McCuskey will be screening on the 20th of June as part of Unknown Pleasures. As always, Bill, great talking to you, and hope everything continues to go well.
You too, Peter. Always great talking with you. And yeah, it's a good time we live in, and I feel that it's a good time currently for independent film. And but I think yeah, films from the past do need to be valued a bit more. I think they can tend to get forgotten in this kind of age. But the good thing is that yeah, cinemas like the Thornbury Picture House do support indie filmmaking, and also other cinemas around the traps in Melbourne, like the Lido in Hawthorne. Basically deals with independent filmmakers directly and puts screenings on. So it's a good time in that kind of respect, I feel. So yeah.
Absolutely agree with all of that. Bill Mousoulis, thanks as always for talking with me.
Thank you, Peter. Yep.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.